Scene opens in a dimly lit, modest office. Piles of case files are stacked on a desk. A lawyer, Anna, in her late 30s, sips coffee and looks exhausted but determined as she speaks to the camera. Have you ever felt like you were the only person in the room fighting for what's right? Like the whole world was on one side and you were on the other, armed with nothing but your belief? That's what it feels like to be a public defender some days. It's not the glamorous courtroom drama you see on TV. There are no fancy suits, no million-dollar settlements. It's just you, a mountain of paperwork, and a client whose entire life hangs in the balance. My name is Anna, and I'm a public defender. My job is to stand for those who can't stand for themselves in our justice system. And today, I want to tell you about a case that reminded me why I do this. It's a story about a young man named Leo. Leo was 19, working 2 jobs to support his mom and younger sister. He was a good kid, quiet, kept to himself. One night, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A convenience store was robbed, and because he vaguely matched a witness's description, young, wearing a hoodie, he was arrested. Just like that, his world collapsed. When the first met Leo, he was terrified. He sat in the visitation room, hands cuffed, barely able to make eye contact. He kept repeating, "I didn't do it. I was at home." He had no alibi besides his mom, who was asleep. The prosecution had an eyewitness, albeit a shaky one, and they were pushing for a plea deal. "Plead guilty to a lesser charge," they said. "You'll get a few years probation instead of a decade in prison." This is the moment where the system really tests you. For the prosecution, it's about closing a case. For the judge, it's about clearing a docket. For a scared kid like Leo, pleading guilty to something he didn't do might seem like the only way out, the path of least resistance. He was on the verge of taking that deal. He told me, maybe it's just easier. Who's going to believe me anyway? And that's the question, isn't it? Who believes the person with no power, no money, no influence? I looked at him, and I saw more than just a case file. I saw a life. A future that was about to be erased because it was the easier option. I told him, "I believe you, Leo, and that's enough to start. We're going to fight this." Saying those words is one thing. Doing it is another. The preparation was a marathon. We had almost no resources. My investigator, a retired cop named Mike, who works for a fraction of what he's worth, spent weeks canvassing the neighborhood. We were looking for a needle in a haystack. We pulled security footage from every camera within a 10-block radius. Hours and hours of grainy video, most of it useless. The pressure was immense. My colleagues, though supportive, would give me that look, the one that says, "Are you sure about this, Anna?" A plea deal is a guaranteed outcome. In a system overburdened and underfunded, taking a case like this to trial is a huge gamble. If you lose, your client pays the price. The prosecutor even took me aside one day. "Anna," he said, "you're a good lawyer. Don't ruin your career on this one. The kid fits the profile. Just take the deal." That's what they don't show you in the movies. The quiet moments of doubt, the whispers in the hallway, the feeling that you're pushing a boulder uphill all alone. But then I think of Leo. I think of his mom, who came to my office with tears in her eyes, telling me her son wouldn't even hurt a fly. True strength isn't about winning every fight. It's about choosing to fight the ones that matter, especially when no one is cheering you on. The trial began. The courtroom felt cold, impersonal. The prosecution presented their case. They put the eyewitness on the stand, an older gentleman who seemed uncertain. He pointed at Leo and said, "I think that's him. The jacket looks right." During my cross-examination, I didn't attack him. I just asked simple questions. How far away were you? Was it dark? Were you wearing your glasses? He admitted the street was poorly lit. He wasn't wearing his glasses, and it all happened so fast. Doubt began to creep into the room. But doubt wasn't enough. We needed proof. The turning point came from the most unexpected place. "Mike, My investigator had found a piece of footage from a traffic camera 2 blocks away from the store. It was time-stamped just 2 minutes before the robbery. The quality was terrible, but if you zoomed in, you could just make out a figure running in the opposite direction of Leo's apartment. This person was wearing a similar hoodie, but their build was stockier, and they had a slight limp. Leo walked with no limp. It wasn't a smoking gun, but it was something. Then came our final piece of the puzzle. While reviewing Leo's phone records for the 100th time, I noticed something I'd missed: a data ping. At the exact time of the robbery, his phone had connected to his home Wi-Fi to download a small system update. It was an automatic process, something he wouldn't even have noticed, but it was digital proof. He couldn't have been in 2 places at once. His phone, and therefore he, was at home. When we presented this in court, you could feel the shift. It was a tiny technical detail, the kind of thing you only find when you refuse to give up. The prosecutor's confident demeanor faltered. He had built his case on a shaky identification, and now a single kilobyte of data was tearing it all down. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. The verdict came back: not guilty. The words echoed in the courtroom. Leo just broke down, sobbing with relief. His mom rushed to hug him. I just stood there for a moment, letting it all sink in. There were no cameras flashing, no reporters waiting outside. In a few minutes, the courtroom would be empty, ready for the next case. It was a quiet victory, a quiet stand. Later that day, Leo and his mom came to my office. He handed me a hand-drawn thank you card from his little sister. He looked at me and said, "You saved my life." And in that moment, all the sleepless nights, all the stress, all the doubt, it all became worth it. This is why we do it. Not for the recognition, not for the money. We do it because everyone, regardless of their circumstances, deserves someone to stand in their corner and fight for them. True strength isn't about the noise you make. It's about the stand you take when everything is quiet and the world isn't watching. It's about believing in someone when no one else will. It's about being the voice for the voiceless. These stories happen every day, in courthouses all across the country. They are carried on the shoulders of dedicated public defenders who believe that justice shouldn't have a price tag. It's a difficult, often thankless job, but it is one of the most important. Because a society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. Thank you so much for listening to Leo's story. It's stories like his that fuel me every single day. If this resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be sharing more stories from the front lines of our justice system, shining a light on the quiet battles that define what justice truly means. Thank you again and take care.